Greeting and welcome to the Intensive Success Secret. I am your host, Nishant Sharma. Please give warm welcome to our guest, James Richardson. James Richardson is speaker, coach, trainer. Welcome, James.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Wow, that's a great question. So I would have to say when was about 20 years ago, and who it was my younger brother, and what is for me being a coach trainer and a speaker, and how that happened is my brother spent a number of years in prison, and watching my brother struggle with addiction and struggle with trying to just find his way in the world. And when he was ready in society, society wasn't quite ready for him. And when society was ready, he wasn't quite ready for society. And I just wanted to be the person who can help people when they're at their lowest to find some joys and some successes in their lives.
Great. What are the top three reasons why do people fail?
Top three reasons why people fail. The first thing is the many people fear failing, and failure, while in the military they say it's not an option, failure is an option. Failure is the most important thing to do because failure is where you learn your lessons. And so the first thing that people reason why people fail so often is because they're afraid of it. The second reason people fail is because they don't prepare properly. So when you have hopes and dreams and aspirations and you're not really putting your all into preparing yourself for that opportunity that comes once in a lifetime, you're typically not going to do well. And so that will lead you to failure. And the third reason why people fail, and I'm speaking probably to the choir here, but every successful person has a coach or a mentor. And many people fail because they don't recognize the need for a coach and a mentor. And so that's kind of where I fill in the gap.
Okay. So, what is your greatest failure? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
My greatest failure. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking me that question. I was actually just talking about this last week with a group of my clients. My greatest failure happened about 15 years ago when I was serving in the military, and I was responsible for around 120 people. And one of my soldiers was hazed. And hazing in the military is when people do things to you to cause you pain, whether it's mental or physical, or stress you in some sort of way, and it's very uncomfortable. And this soldier was hazed, and I didn't recognize how big the problem was, and I let that soldier down. And when I finally was able to see how badly I missed it, I was embarrassed because I should have seen it. All of the signs were there and I missed it. And so, what I promised myself from that moment on in my life was that I was going to always ask the next question, because where I failed that young soldier at was I didn't give him an opportunity to tell me everything that was on his mind and leave it all, with me. And so I didn't ask him, what else do you want me to know that I don't know? And that was an important lesson. And I always ask that question of people now when I speak with them.
Okay. What is your top three success secrets that other can model from you?
Top three success secrets. I always come prepared. If I am meeting with somebody, I will take the time to, you know, look them up on LinkedIn, see if they're on any social media platforms, get an understanding of, the things they do, the things that, are their accomplishments, things they enjoy doing. And in doing that, I'm always prepared in every meeting I walk into. Another thing that I think that separates, excuse me, another thing I believe that separates me from other people, that leads me to success, is I task organize. I figure out what it is that needs to be done and figure out who it is that is best served in doing it. And that's not always myself. And so, whether or not I'm paying for somebody to do a service that I just don't want to do or don't have the time to do, or passing off a task to someone who could do one more thing, it gives me enough time to do the things that I deem important. And then finally, I would say one of the things that leads me to success is I'm always looking to see what else can be done. And that starts off by asking how I can help you before I ask you to help me. And so I believe that those three things are things that are helpful for me.
Okay. Do you have assistant?
I don't have a steady assistant right now. I have a number of volunteers, and with our organization, our volunteers come and go. We ask them to stay on for anywhere between 6 months to a year, and we have a few volunteers that have stayed on longer. And because I lack an assistant, I use all of my volunteers and I ask them to do, hey, can you do this 1 hour's worth of work for the week or for the next, what have you? And so I use all of my resources to get those things done that an assistant would typically do.
Okay. Okay. What's your company motto?
Our company motto, we don't necessarily have a true company motto. I apologize, that we don't have quite a model, but that's something that I think that we ought to really have. One of the things that we use when I'm talking to people, though, is we like to build hope, transform lives, and overcome obstacles. It's not quite a motto, but it's something that we live by.
Okay. What motivates you within?
Mm, what motivates me within? I wanna leave a legacy, and there are only a few ways to leave a legacy. And how I what I believe in with a legacy is, people may not know who James Richardson is 10 years from now or 50 years from now, but they will have been impacted by the people that I reach and touch today. And so that motivates me, knowing that the things that I'm doing today are planting those seeds for something to really be big later on down the line. And so, whether or not it's in my family, where my grandchildren or their children will have more because of the foundation that I've laid for them, or whether or not, it's a soldier who I trained 20 years ago, and now he's made it to the top rungs of the military. Those are the things that I think about as legacy.
Okay. Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is somebody that's hungry and thirsty for knowledge, but humble enough to understand that they haven't done whatever it is they're trying to do in a way that's been successful for them.
Okay. How do you find your ideal client? Like paid ideal client.
Sure. So I actually look for nonprofit organizations, and I look to see how big they are. And typically, when you find nonprofit organizations that are anywhere between a one-man operation or 5-man operation, that's the sweet spot for me, because I know that every single person that's working in that organization can learn something from me that I can share with them, and their organization can immediately grow from it.
Okay, great. Oh, how do you crush your competition?
Could you say that again?
How do you crush your competition?
How do I press my competition? You know, I'm weird in that I don't think in terms of a pie being, if I have a slice of pie, I'm taking pie from someone else. I always think of it in terms of there's enough out there for everybody. And so I never worry about my competition ever. I'll help my competition because if I can make them better, I know that the one thing that they do that I don't do, I can now send people their way. And the one thing that I do that they don't do, they can send people my way. So I never worry about competition. That is literally the second least thing that I ever worry about is competition. And the first thing that I never worry about is money because those two things are going to come. Money is going to come because, this is something I tell people all the time. If you do what you, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. We all know that. But the other half of that not many people know is that if you do what you love, you get good at it. And things that you're good at, you tend to get paid for. So the money is going to definitely come. And so I never worry about the money and I never worry about the competition because I'm always about lifting and I'm never about pushing down.
How do you deliver five-star client experience?
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So on day one, in moment one, my job is to convince you that I care about your success. And I'm typically very straight up about it. And the way that I tell people is if you fail, my business will fail because you'll either write a horrible review about me or you will not be successful and not want to share with others what goodness I brought to you. And so I have a vested interest in your success. And so I want you to know on day one, I'm going to trust you, but I'm going to work every moment to build the trust that you have in me. And so that's kind of how I play that.
How do you handle rejections?
Never worry about rejections because what's yours is yours. My grandfather used to say that if it's meant for you, you're going to have it. And I will tell you, and I'll share a quick story. One time I was stationed in Korea and I had never seen this before, but in Korea, they have square blocks that are set that sell the electronics, square blocks that are set to sell plumbing supplies, and all these blocks that sell all the exact same thing. And nobody's going out of business. And so you just never can worry about those things because what's yours is yours and you're going to get it.
Okay. So, um, how do you handle rejections or in your life? Yeah, angry client.
An angry client. Oh, that's great. So it's very rare that I have an angry client, and I'm going to tell you why. It's very hard for a person to argue with themselves. And so I consider myself an astute communicator. And it's actually one of the things that I teach people and train people on is how to communicate so that you are assertive and not arrogant, right? Or submissive. And so when I have an angry client, top thing in mind for me to figure out is what is the source of the anger? Is it a lack of something? Is it a lack of understanding that I not do a particular thing? And once I understand where the anger is coming from, I drill down on how to solve that problem. And typically the anger goes away when people feel as though whatever it was that was making them angry, that they've been seen and they've been heard behind whatever made them angry.
Okay. What are you grateful for today?
What am I grateful for today? I will tell you that there's so many things that I'm grateful for, but high on my list of gratefulness is my health. I am I've got a number of things that are wrong with me based on military and having physical disabilities, but I'm here. I'm able to do the thing that I love. I would do it for free. And so just being able to impact people's lives and having the health enough to be able to do those things is a blessing to me. And I'm so grateful for that.
Okay. How young are you?
I'm 54 years young.
You are not 54-year young. You are
Yeah,
18-year young with 36-year experience.
that's right. There you go. I'll have to remember that. 18 years young with 36 years experience.
Okay. So, what would you like to say about your younger yourself?
What would I like to say to my younger self? Pace yourself. It's a marathon and not a sprint. And if you're not enjoying life while you're going through life, you may never have life to enjoy at the end. So just pace yourself and enjoy it.
Okay. How can we support you?
You can support my organization by going to fourhorsemanservices.org, and you can find us www.fourhorsemanservices.org, and you can support the Four Horsemen, and you can look us up. We are on all social media platforms, and we would love for anyone who is willing to support us, whether it's $1 or more. Every little bit helps for our organization, and we would absolutely love and appreciate that.
Okay. What would you like to say about your guest experience on this show?
I will tell you that I am so grateful to you, Nishant. I did not know what to expect. You asked me some really tough questions. You made me dig deep and really think about, some of the things that I've gone through and how I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing. And I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk and be a guest on your platform.
Okay. What's your final word?
My final word is to never give up on yourself. Whether you're going through a lot or whether or not you're going through, you're having things come to you easily, you deserve every bit of success that's out there, and just go for it and never stop working on it, working on you.
Okay, great. Thanks, James, for sharing your wisdom with us on the behalf of our community and team. We really appreciate you. Until the next time, all good wishes to you.
Thank you so much, and take care, Nishant.